The Monday, December 2nd, 2013 City Council meeting of the City Council of Issaquah, Washington is called to order at 7 p.m. And the council and I invite those who are present to join us in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag, if you wish. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next on the agenda for the council meeting this evening is an item of special business, Agenda Bill 6751, the swearing in of Councilmember Mary Lou Pauley to council position number 1. You're welcome. I'm going to ask you to raise your hand and repeat after me. I,
Mary Lou Pauley,
excellent, do solemnly affirm that I will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of this office as prescribed by law and to the best of my ability, and that I will support and maintain the Constitution of the State of Washington and for the United States of America. Congratulations and welcome to you. You get to sign these. Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next on the agenda this evening is an opportunity for members of the public to address the City Council on items of interest or concern. And these may be essentially any item. They may be ones that are in the council's agenda this evening or things that aren't in the council's agenda. We do have some guidelines for public participation, and we ask that when you are recognized that you use the lectern and the microphone so that you may be seen and heard in council chambers and also by those who are viewing the council meeting on Channel 21, our government access channel. We ask that you state your name, your address, and your relationship to the city if you wish to give us that information. For instance, if you are a resident, a property owner, a business owner, something that you feel is important for us to know. We also ask that you limit comments to 5 minutes or fewer, and if you have written comments, please submit them for the city clerk. And for anyone who has not viewed one of our council meetings before, this is not a dialogue, and so the council will listen to your comments and your information, but will not be engaged in responding to it at that time, although they may address concerns later on in the council meeting. With that, I will ask if anyone has signed up to speak during audience comments. Is there anyone present who hasn't had an opportunity to speak during audience comments who wishes to speak during audience comments? Anyone who wishes to speak? Third call. Is there anyone who wishes to speak during audience comments? Seeing and hearing no one who wishes to speak during audience comments are closed. And we will move to council committee and regional reports. And I will ask Councilmember Goodman.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. First of all, welcome to Councilmember Polly. Land and Shore meets next week, December 10th at 5 p.m. here in council chambers. And we have, I don't have a final agenda yet, but I believe the agenda will consist of the DSD fees that we've talked about. And if the consent agenda passes tonight, we also will have we might have on the agenda, Agenda Bill 6739, which regards comp plan amendments. Agenda Bill 6747, which is regarding Polygon Development Agreement in the Issaquah Highlands. And Agenda Bill 6749, which has to do with right-of-way dedication, Northeast High Street, west of 9th Avenue. And that's my report.
Thank you. Councilmember Martz.
No report.
Councilmember Scher.
Thank you. Happy holidays to anyone who's celebrating this time of year, and I have no report to give this evening. Thank you.
Councilmember Barber.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Services and Safety Committee will be meeting this Thursday, December 5th at 5 p.m. in the Eagle Room. We have just one item before us, and it's discussion on the Eastside Fire and Rescue possible ILA changes, and that will be for discussion-only purposes that evening. And that will be all we'll be reviewing. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Winterstein is excused this evening. Councilmember Butler.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The next council committee work session is scheduled for December the 9th at 6 p.m. here in council chambers. We will get a brief Klahani PAA update, a communications update, and an update on the Eastside Fire and Rescue interlocal agreement. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. There will not be an executive session this evening. Next item, you may find free native plants for your garden at an upcoming plant salvage event in the Issaquah Highlands. And those events will be 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. on December 7th and on December 14th. Native plants are adapted to our Pacific Northwest climate. They require less watering. They're more resistant to disease, and they offer improved habitat for birds and wildlife. For more information, visit our website at issaquahwa.gov. Our next free sustainability film night focuses on the buzz about bees. From the mysterious world inside a hive to the global bee crisis, join us for the documentary Queen of the Sun, What Are the Bees Telling Us? And this is from 6:30 to 9 p.m. on December 12th at Blakely Hall, 2550 Northeast Park Drive in Issaquah in the Highlands. And for more information, visit issaquahwa.gov/sustainability. Don't end up on the naughty list this holiday season. Issaquah police officers are increasing patrols in our business districts to prevent thefts during the year's busiest shopping days. Think of them as Santa's backup. They are also out to warn shoppers if their vehicles and valuables are left too susceptible to prowlers and other Scrooges. Use hashtag Santa's backup on Twitter to find tips and photos from police throughout the season. And if you see our officers on holiday patrols, snap a photo and use the hashtag. And hope that you don't get a little note saying your valuable possessions were left in plain sight. There is a clarification regarding Agenda Bill 6750. The title should read, Approve Resolution to Increase the Property Tax Levy for the city at a rate of 1% over last year and amend ordinance number 2697 to set the 2014 property tax. And finally, in the mayor's report, I have a proclamation about Employee Learning Week. Whereas the organizations of the city of Issaquah are continued to creating a highly skilled workforce that is critical to growing and sustaining a competitive advantage, and whereas they recognize that having a knowledgeable, skilled workforce improves the performance of those organizations, and whereas learning develops individual and organizational knowledge and expertise, and whereas the American Society for Training and Development, ASTD, the world's largest association dedicated to the training and development field, has declared December 2nd through 6th, 2013 as Employee Learning Week and designated this time for organizations to recognize the value of employee learning. And whereas ASTD Puget Sound Chapter, whose members are workplace learning and performance professionals, and the organizations in Issaquah, Washington, have demonstrated their commitment to developing the skills of employees and the workforce. Now therefore, I, Ava Freisinger, Mayor of the City of Issaquah, do hereby proclaim December 2nd through 6th, 2013, to be Employee Learning Week in the City of Issaquah, and I urge all citizens to get involved and recognize the importance of employee learning and the connection between a highly skilled workforce and organizational results. In witness whereof, I have set my hand and seal of the City of Issaquah this second day of December 2013. And I would like to invite Sandra Wong to please come forward to receive this proclamation.
Thank you so much, Mayor.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, City Council, for your support for learning and development in the city. Makes me a proud resident of Issaquah. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I will ask the council if accounts have been reviewed.
They have.
Right? And then I will ask the council's pleasure as to the adoption of the consent calendar. Councilmember Butler.
I would move approval of the consent calendar as submitted.
Second?
Okay, moved by Butler and seconded by Barber. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we are now on to the item number 8, the one item under regular business, and that is Agenda Bill 6757, the process for a council vacancy, the filling of a council vacancy. And the request is that there be direction provided by the council as to how people wish to proceed and which process you wish to use. And there are some suggestions, I believe. A schedule and some information akin to what the council has done in the past.
So I'll make a motion.
All right, Councilmember Goodman.
I would move to approve the process and timeline for filling the council vacancy, position number 2, as presented.
Second?
Okay, so it's been moved by Goodman and seconded by Scher. And I will now ask council for questions or discussion. Yes, Councilmember Goodman.
Do we want to have some little bit of explanation for the people who are watching and even in the audience? Because they can't see the page that we're looking at.
Right, they can't see the document. So I can offer a summary of this, or if you wish, you can offer a summary.
Sure. Well, I
Okay.
think the process for filling the vacancy is similar to what we've done prior. And the proposed schedule we have here has the solicitation of candidates through the press and website, TV 21 and other venues to be happening on starting December 11th. And the deadline for receiving applications and letters of interest from applicants would be January 15th. And there would be an application and questions. I believe there are 5 questions. And the applicants would present their responses to council during an open public meeting, one of our meetings on January 21st. And then the following Monday, February 3rd, would be the schedule for the appointment to fill the vacancy.
Any other questions or discussion on this topic? Is the council ready then to act on this motion? All right. All those in favor of approving the process and timeline for filling council vacancy position number 2 as just presented, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passed unanimously. Next on the agenda this evening is an item called Good of the Order. And if there are regional meetings or anything extra that the council would like to bring to the attention of the public and one another, this would be the time to do that. Councilmember Martz.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The Sound Cities Association Public Issues Committee met on November 13th and had one issue that they asked PIC members to go back to their councils and talk about. I will be brief, but it was revolved around a position that said the Sound Cities Association supports legislation that would allow cities to open and maintain a bank account for which it may accept or request non-public gifts, grants, and donations, in other words, private funds, from citizens and other private sources for use in defraying the costs of appropriate hosting of foreign dignitaries, including appropriate gift-giving and reciprocal gift-giving, and international trade hosting, international relations, and international missions activities. And this generated some discussion. It was not a unanimous decision. And I would say the major arguments against were that many cities already can do this through their chambers of commerce. And one of the, to me, perhaps the most cogent argument in favor was that small municipalities don't necessarily have very developed chambers. We're lucky enough to have a great chamber, but some of the smaller municipalities don't. And so for those folks, they really would like the ability to do this, and because it was non-public funds, they would like to do it. So I sort of wanted to ask my fellow council members if people have an opinion on this issue before we go back to the PIC this month.
Councilmember Butler.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This would be an option for a city, not a requirement. And so we're very, very fortunate. We have sister city relationships with Sundal, Norway, and Chefchaouen in Morocco. We have a very active Chamber of Commerce, the Festivals Office, and a supportive community that's very, very helpful in helping us fund and host guests from our sister cities. So I can see without a chamber, we would be hard pressed to generate the support that we gain. So I believe it makes sense. It's optional. They can do it or not do it. Their councils would approve it. And since there's no obligation that you establish such an account, I see no reason why we should deny those small cities desiring that method of financing to go forward.
Other comment or?
All right, thank you. That's all I have from the PIC.
Any other items for good of the order? Yes, Councilmember Scher.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. I believe that we forgot to give an infrastructure committee report that was chaired by Councilmember Faulkner, who's not here to give an infrastructure committee report. So from the best of my recollection, we discussed the potential impacts of Metro Transit cuts on Issaquah, and the committee engaged in pretty robust discussion about what options are available to our citizens, ranging from getting into the bus service ourselves to providing some sort of support for carpool, vanpool, and shared ride types of options. Ultimately, and Councilmember Martz can supplement my memory, We asked to take a look at what options were available, the costs of those options. There didn't seem to be a strong feeling for getting us into the actual business of running a transit system, but we certainly recognize there will be a need, especially if the Route 200 is cut, and we wanted to know what individuals or transit-dependent riders in the city would be most impacted by the loss of that bus service, in addition to other routes such as the 269 and other routes in the city that users might take advantage of. There were also a number of other agenda bills, the numbers of which escape me as I've powered down, but Councilmember Martz has them to the rescue. We had Agenda Bill 6742, Agenda Bill 6743, and 6745 dealing with community fiber network, acceptance of a conservation grant for Lower Lewis Creek restoration, and a Department of Ecology stormwater grant. The committee asked for all of those to be approved, and we will have no December Infrastructure Committee meeting. And I believe that concludes my report to the best of my recollection. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other items? Yes, Councilmember Barber.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Councilmember Winterstein has asked me if I would please read in a report that he has sent me, and this is, Paul is representing us at the Eastside Fire and Rescue Ad Hoc Committee, which is looking at possible changes to the interlocal agreement. And so he has asked if I wouldn't please read this for him this evening. Eastside Fire and Rescue Ad Hoc Committee for changes to the interlocal agreement has yet to meet formally, though I've had unofficial discussions with representatives from Fire District 10 and the cities of Sammamish and the cities of North Bend. The first official meeting is scheduled for this Friday, December 6th. You're going to hear quite a bit about Eastside Fire and Rescue and the ILA over the next 2 months, so I wanted to lay out the process so everyone knows what to expect. At first, a little review. There are a 3-step process for changing the interlocal agreement. First, the Eastside Fire and Rescue Board proposes changes. Second, each of the 5 partners must all adopt the changes. Only after passage by all 5 partners will the Eastside Fire and Rescue Board complete the process by formally adopting the changes. In order to get this process going, our city's objective is for the ad hoc committee to make its recommendation in time for the December 12th Eastside Fire and Rescue Board meeting. That then would kick off the process for us to create an agenda bill that would go before Services and Safety Committee in January, with the committee's recommendation then back to the full council for adoption at our regular business meeting on January 21st. Assuming the other 4 partners also adopt the proposed changes in this timely manner, the Eastside Fire and Rescue Board would then have to finalize the new ILA before the end of January. With this timing, any city or fire department contemplating leaving the partnership could make their decision knowing the terms of the ILA. We might need to slightly alter our schedule if the timing is too tight to complete in time. At this time, I'm optimistic that we won't have to do that. Prior to the ad hoc committee this Friday, we're going to have a discussion about the current docket of ILA changes at Services and Safety Committee meeting this Thursday. This discussion will greatly benefit me by having Eileen and Stacy's input prior to going into the first ad hoc committee meeting. After that, the ILA changes will be on the agenda at our council work session meeting next Monday, December 9th. This is where our entire council will have the opportunity to weigh in on the work to date and the admins and the ad hocs committee prior to the Eastside Fire and Rescue meeting of the 12th. Our work session discussion may be the most important step in the process because the general sentiment of our council at that time and signals what we will send will be very important for all of us and to all of the other partners to hear this. So that was Paul's comments, and as he stated, and I stated earlier, we will be having some discussion this Thursday at the Council Services and Safety Committee meeting. So if there's any comment from any council members, that would be very important. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other items to come before the council? Since there is no executive session, we are now adjourned at 7:25. the game.